Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of the third quarterfinals of the 2023 Premodern Fall Brawl Top 8. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined in the booth by Jared Doucette. How's it going, Jared?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was just talking. I still feel like I'm having audio issues, but no one has complained, so I will continue on as we can go. But
you sound good to me.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. Let's look at the matchup we have. So we have two interesting adjustments to kind of decks that we've seen in Premodern before, one maybe more than the other. But the Suicide Black deck by Travis Schneider is splashing green, which I've seen people kind of toy around with it, but not have that much success. So it's interesting to see maybe a few adjustments that maybe it's a metagame call, or maybe just the adjustments to the 75 work out really well. So that's kind of exciting. And then Michael Arnold has...
Or the fact that Rancor and Call the Herd are just fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I played Rancor and Call the Herd in this Fall Brawl as well and had success with it. So okay. I completely understand it.
And then Mike Arnold has the Survival Elves, but he's playing white, and he has Armageddon.
Another sweet card.
That's an adjustment he's made. So let's take a quick look at our players, and we can learn a little bit about them. So we have Travis Schneider out of Atlanta, Georgia. He finished with a record of 7-1, which finished him in second place after the 8 rounds in the Fall Brawl. He notes that his deck is very favored against fair decks. He notes that he went 12-4 in the last 3 leagues. So, but he does struggle against unfair decks such as Dark Secret, Turtle Splash, Enchantress, and Fluctuator. I think those are the decks that he has lost to. And he notes the sideboard MVP. He says Black Carriage. Do you know what that card does?
No, but I know it's a terrible Homelands card.
Yeah. So
I could not do it off the top of my head, I don't think.
It's like 3 black for like a 4/4 that has trample. It doesn't untap during your untap step, but you have to like sacrifice a creature to untap it or something.
Oh, that's attack versus stasis. I see.
I think it's just a joke. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, no.
I don't, so yeah, he had noted it later on that he played with a 74 card deck. So All right, so a little bit more about Travis. Why do you choose it? So it's kind of a funny story that like he went to his playgroup because, hey guys, Fall Brawl's during October, it's Halloween season, we should play spooky decks. And so spooky would mean black, I guess. So he was gonna play a black deck. His friend's like, yeah, I'll do it, but I think we need to play green. Like, I wanted to play Rancor or Call the Herd or something. So they did some minimal testing, and they've been enjoying it. So they got their spooky deck, and he makes it to the top 8 of the Fall Brawl. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, that's how it works.
Changes, he would note he'd up the Duresses either in the main of the board, maybe have main deck Naturalize, and maybe if he could fit in room for the package of Unearth and Caller the Claw. And he also said the Tempting Wurms in the sideboards were not impressive. He was not happy with those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I've seen Tempting Wurm jump in a number of sideboards. I guess you had it in the Premodern Showdown series, right?
Yeah, I didn't bring it at all.
Yeah,
it's literally it's literally just good against like the red deck, I feel like.
Okay. And he notes exciting moments that attacking his opponents for 7 on turn 2 and hearing them murmur themselves to either English, German, or Spanish. That's a lot of damage. So I guess in all languages, it's easy to pick up people when they're getting beat down. So favorite hobbies outside of Magic, says enjoys spending time with the wife and son. Other than that, I loved bad movie nights. I've watched Suburban Sasquatch probably 9 times now. Is that a movie that the general populace should have heard of?
I will not be quoting it on the Premodcast. That way.
Okay.
I've never even heard of it.
All right. So, why should people root for you? He said, A, basic swamps, B, 2/2s for 1, and C, I'm playing a 74 card deck just as a meme, and D, I'm the tireless tribe guy. So, anything else you'd like to share? If you haven't already checked out their podcast, Shared Discovery, they talk about weird and crazy decks in Premodern. Have you ever listened to the Shared Discovery podcast?
I just learned about it just now.
Okay, so I've listened to a couple episodes, so I remember after LobsterCon they were talking about the Tyler's Tribe deck, so I have listened to Travis a couple times.
Good.
Let's talk about Mike Arnold from Temecula, California. He was 6-2 and finished in the 7th seed. He is bringing the Survival Elves that has the Armageddon. Favored against most mid-range and control decks. Finally beating goblins thanks to the sideboard Absolute Law. So
That'll get you.
Still notes that is weak to faster combo decks, and said that he cited to Naturalize way more than Absolute Law.
Yeah, Naturalize comes in a lot.
Yep.
I can imagine. My deck for the Fall Ball played 4 main deck, and honestly, except for the Goblins matchup, it was literally great in every single matchup, pretty much.
Okay. So Mike knows why he chose the deck. He said, played Elves in the last 3 derbies, all had small twists on them. Splashing white for Armageddon is something that's done well in middle school, which if you're not familiar with what that is very similar to Premodern, has a little bit of rules change, a little bit of a different ban list. But other than that, it's pretty much the essence is the same. So he's taking the tech from the middle school guys. Decided to try on Premodern as the White Splash allows Absolute Law, as he noted before, to combat Sly and Goblins. Would you make any changes? He said, if I would have known I'd be paired into 2 Hermit Fed players, I may have forced some number of Swords to Plowshares in the deck. So, well, there's those Hermit Fed players still are lingering, so if Mike makes it on, that he might face them again. But notes excited moments that it was in Game 2 versus Enchantress, and his opponent had a Sacred Ground and 2 Sterling Grove, and next turn he destroyed all their lands were destroyed. And it wasn't because of Armageddon. It was because Sacred Ground is not protected against Kamahl when you animate the lands and then damage them with a Masticore, because apparently them being destroyed that way is a state-based effect and not something that he controls that would trigger the Sacred Ground. So interesting.
Well, that's
interesting rules thing. I would never know that, but pretty cool. Favorite hobbies outside of Magic? He says, what else is there? Why should people root for you? He said, 3rd time is the charm. So this is his 3rd Fall Brawl / Spring Fling top 8, which is pretty impressive. So he's going to try and make this one count. And then anything else? He says, free Mystical Tutor. He likes to talk about when that...
Absolutely. Free it up.
I disagree, but that's fine. We won't go into it. Let's jump down to the decks of the players. I have the Suicide Black, Splashing Green list. So... Carnophage and Sarcomancy are the 1-drops. Then there's Skittering Skirge and Nantuko Shade as the 2-drops, and then Call the Herd and Drinker of Sorrow as the 3-drops. And then it's complemented with Dark Ritual for acceleration, Snuff Out as removal, Rancor to kind of beef up or push over the edge. There's a couple of Curse Scroll that can kind of do double duty of either damage to the player or maybe clearing out of the way for blockers. And that 1 copy of Kaervek's Spite, we'll see if that comes into play.
Let's hope.
What stands out in this list? This is a pretty unique list. I mean, like, Suicide Black is something that we don't see that often in general, and then certainly with the green splashes is far less common.
I mean, the mana base is rough. You only have 10 green sources, right? So that can always be kind of an issue for 8 green spells. I know they only need 1 green pip, but still, that's not a whole lot of sources considering you want Call on turn 3, but you want Rancor early, so we'll see how it goes. Mana is probably going to be the biggest issue here, but I do like the clock it presents. We'll see how interactive it is, or lack thereof, with the Elves deck. So
yeah, chat was just noting that there aren't any discard spells in the main deck, which
that is an issue.
Yeah.
But out of 3 Snuff Outs maybe can kill like the key Elves. Plaguing the board is going to be huge, and I think we could, we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Then looking at Mike Arnold's list. So the main deck looks pretty normal, other than Birchlore Rangers is not always a main or even a card that's typically played. So that might be, though it's funny because like the white splash is not any harder than the typical red splash. I guess there's no, what's that guy called?
Sharpshooter.
No, yes, that as well. But the Yavimaya Granger, I don't see that. So I guess maybe that's why there's some different elves. But other than this looks pretty similar, other than obviously the 3 copies of Armageddon, which are in the main, which gives it a different aspect. We've seen that kind of that flex slot be either Biorhythm or Tanglewire. And so the white splash provides a different dimension. And then, in the sideboard, Absolute Law is something that can come in against those red decks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what's your just impression of the Armageddon tech?
I mean, I love Armageddon. It's one of my all-time favorite cards, so I'm excited to see what happens. I don't know if it's going to be the best in this matchup.
Sure.
Because it's going to be probably pretty aggro, and I suspect they'll be sided out.
Yep.
When we get to those games, but I mean, I could see the benefit, right? You generate so much mana with your creatures that an Armageddon is usually very one-sided almost. But I think it's pretty cool.
Okay. Let's jump down to the match. If you want to let our players know that they can begin, I might have to. Yeah, we have Travis on the left with the Suicide Black deck, and then Mike Arnold on the right. Let me just reorientate his screen.
Yeah, it looks like Travis is down 2 cards, so he's down to 5.
Okay.
And then I think Mike might have a full grip. So even though Travis is on the play,
well met. That's what Travis says. His little emote. I wonder if there's more. That I mean, I don't know if that extends beyond Hearthstone, but that's what I think of. That's something that one of the emotes from
Isn't that what the Paladin says?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Uther.
Uther.
Yeah.
Yep.
So start off with a Carnophage.
A Hearthstone back in the day.
Okay. Yeah, so the black deck doesn't want to mulligan, but given that it's aggressive, it's pretty important to come out of the gates with some pressure, so I don't think it's uncommon or necessarily the worst thing for him. So
yeah, it looks like he's coming in hot so far. I mean, he's got a good start. I hope one of his last 2 cards is a Snuff Out, because that's really his only interaction, and he's going to need to kill probably a priest at some point that could be problematic.
Yeah, I will note that Mike had Brushland as his first green source, but I guess after following up with Llanowar Elves, Fyndhorn Elves, Llanowar Elves, I guess he's not going to take that much more damage from his lands. But notable that Travis doesn't have Wasteland, which is sometimes something that you see in these aggressive black decks. That would have been a key play to take out that green source to really slow Mike down. But
here comes the elephant.
All right, Call of the Herd. There
we go. That's where we need oh, come on, get your tokens. You need good elephant tokens of something. Get like an old war mammoth or something.
That's what Mike uses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Mike already down to 12 as I accidentally moved the game score. All right. So life totals are quickly going down thanks to the creatures, and then the Carnophages also do a little bit of work for both sides.
But if you look at where we're at, he's at 12. He can swing for 7, and then he's just a Kaervek spite away. So I mean, if this first game ends in a Kaervek spite, I'd be very excited.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen, but
well, I mean,
just saying.
The one thing is, like, Mike kind of has to think about when he wants to block, because if a card like Rancor comes down, then that really changes the combat math.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is like really the key card in these racing type things, because yeah, the Elves deck does a really good job of putting a number of creatures on the board and can chump block, but when the creatures have trample, that changes things. I think Drinker of Sorrow also naturally has.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Okay,
pretty sure it does not naturally have, and it's not like Negator.
No,
it's a 5/3 for 3 that can't block,
okay.
And then when it deals damage, it has to sack a permanent.
Okay, so this might be a matchup where, I mean, they're a little bit different either way, but like the trample on the big 3 drop might be missed in this situation. But
yeah,
all right.
Okay, we got our first survival activation, and we already got a symbiote down, so shenanigans will start to happen.
Okay, so I guess the one thing that's notable is because there's no anger in this list, it's less combo-y, I guess, in terms of like you don't have those really explosive like 0 to 60 from just like a blink of the eye kind of thing. Yeah. But still, like, I mean, I guess because I guess normally like Priest of Titania comes down and you make a bunch of mana, but that won't happen unless you're able to pass the turn. So okay, Mike did get a priest, so I guess he is kind of forward thinking, but it's going to have to take the next turn before he's able to use that priest.
Yeah, that is probably one of the bigger problems with this version of the deck, is that it is going to be that much slower, right? Nothing. It's really what makes the Elves deck literally broken, is that it can go from no board to just having an overwhelming board advantage with when everything gets powered up. All right, attack for 7. Say no blocks. Say no blocks. Come on, Kaervek Spite. He's in range. In range.
He could block with the Priest of Titania and then return it to his hand.
He already took the 7.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, he doesn't have it, clearly. Otherwise, he would just fire that thing off. I think he even had the 3 black mana. Let's see what. Okay. Oh, Gemstone Mine. Boo. That's not exciting. Oh, but we do get a flashback elephant.
Okay. Add to the board.
Yeah.
I guess there is like merit. Like, I mean, if like you can't really be afraid of Armageddon, but like there is incentive for Travis to hold on to his lands, especially the ones that make green. If like you get Armageddon and then hopefully you just draw Rancor. But yeah, making the other 3/3 is really good here.
Yeah, I mean, but like Mike's obviously doesn't want to have to deal with combat damage, right? Because he's gonna have to at least 2-for-1 himself every time he tries to block. In this current state. I mean, yes, he'll be able to get some stuff in with survival. Maybe that'll beef them up. With the champion or Kamahl or whatever.
Well, with the priest, if he's able to go get Deranged Hermit and he has Wirewood Symbiote, he's able to make a lot of blockers. Like, just the squirrels come down, and he's able to bounce that and play that multiple times a turn. As long as they don't have trample, I think he kind of has the board under control.
Right, exactly. But he's. That is what he needs to do, and with survival online, it's going to definitely turn in the corner soon. All right, they have the gross squee. What is that squee, Michael? Come on. What is that, like an M19 squee or something?
Yeah.
I don't even know when it was reprinted. That squee loves its that squee has the squee toy. It looks like.
Oh yes.
But yep, looks like he's got the Hermit, like you called. So yeah, he'll be able to untap, play it. He's got 4 floating. He'll be able to play it fine, then he'll be able to untap it and probably bounce it and do it again.
Yeah. So
we'll have 8 squirrels that are all 2/2s probably.
So Travis is looking for, like, I don't even know if Rancor is enough at this point.
Not at this point. No,
I think it's
squirrels.
I think it's just Kaervek's fight. But there's one in the deck, so
there's one in the deck. That is an out. Play to your out. So he's gonna try to, live as long as he can. So bounces and then untaps. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, yeah, he's got 5 elves.
So with Mike to have, like, I think he's stabilized, and so now basically the game becomes how quickly can you close it out? How few draw steps can you give Travis to deny him that Kaervek spike?
He's got Geddon too.
All right,
that's gonna knock it out.
And it's kind of funny, like when you're in these situations, the Carnophages are awkward because you're like, oh, well, they're not getting through. They're just gonna be tapped, or you're paying life. So Armageddon, okay.
By the holy light.
All right. I guess he associates with Uther, so.
Apparently. I kind of like this. I think everyone should have emotes now, especially for when they're on stream. You're gonna have to write. Oh, who was my favorite? I was a big Rexar fan, the Hunter.
Okay.
Like,
greetings, traveler.
Greetings, traveler. Yes.
Yep. Chad has noted that he can still have Swamp Ritual and Kaervek's fight. I think he only has 1 card in hand right now, but he might be able to live a couple turns. So.
Yep. Well, I mean, the top of his deck is gonna turn.
Well, I mean, I guess if you get Kamahl, well, I don't know how much, because Kamahl costs
6.
Yeah, and then 5 to activate.
Yeah.
Does he have that much with just the... He's probably pretty close. Let's see. So the priest asks for 1, 2, 3,
5.
4, 5, and then there's 9 other mana. Oh, with the other Wirewood Symbiote, he's got to have it then, right?
He basically has a billion. He's in that elf state where they just have so much. I mean, he's got, he has access to, 19 mana this turn.
Yeah, okay. He needs 6 to play the Kamahl, 1 to go get it, and then 5 to activate it. So
He's going for Rancor. I mean, Rancor's just going to wipe the Master Board. That's sorry.
I mean, I guess it's the same idea. He's just removing the blockers as compared to going through them or over them.
It's not the most efficient way to do it, but there's 4 mana. That'll kill 1, 2, 2. I think I would care more about the 3/3s because every time he leaves those things, untapped, they take a damage. I think the 3/3s is a bigger issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more efficient to kill those. Obviously, now you just have a couple black.
Well, I guess if Mike is not killing Travis this turn, there's the potential of the Ritual Swamp and Kaervek's fight. So we'll see if. Oh, there's a well played. Oh,
okay. Conceding? Oh, still had it out.
Well, I mean, he knows what's in his hand. If he doesn't have 2 of those 3 things, that he knows it might not be possible. So.
Yeah, I'm curious why Mike went for that that line of the Master Core. I feel like he had a win with probably Kamahl, or even just keep playing Deranged Hermit over and over again.
Yeah.
And making a huge army of those. That was probably much more. I mean, I think that was still going to take at least a turn or 2 if he didn't get the Kamahl. But
I mean, the next turn, because you can tap the priest for 5, 10, 15 and shoot 8 times. So you can clear out the elephants and then attack in. It was so massive.
Yeah, but he was at 12, so I mean, and he only had a few 1/1s. I guess could make him 8/8s. He would pretty much tap out. I don't know.
No, he had the Master Core plus 5 of the Llanowar Elves and the Squirrel tokens. So
yeah, I guess that would be dead.
But I mean, he might have even just had it that turn just with an alpha. Were there 4 or 8 squirrels?
There was only 4 because I don't know.
Okay.
He only did it once. I don't know why. I would have put down 8 squirrels. Then an alpha straight with Kamahl it's one of those where he was already at 12, so only 3 had to get through. You know, and he only had 4 blockers, and he would have had 9 attackers or 13, 14 attackers. You know.
Yep. Chad has asked if we're doing a best of 5. Yes. So these first 2 games are without sideboarding, and then 3 through 5 they'll have access to the 15 cards. So decks are staying the same for this game.
I imagine Travis benefits quite a bit from sideboarding with the engineered plagues.
Sure.
But did you notice his playmat? Travis's. So I was talking. This is from the guys in Nashville. They did a the Music City.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually the art that's the standstill guy with a cowboy hat, and instead of the sword, it's a microphone.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Which is really cool. I mean, it looks like he's like it's Music City, right?
Yeah.
So the guy looks like he's rocking out and some country tunes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Looks like Travis, I think, is mulliganing.
Michael also has a respectable mat on his side, so.
Yes, the priest is definitely very fitting.
How often do you still acquire playmats?
I was gonna ask you a very similar question, but I basically am I'm done. You know, I have like.
Did you buy the Mog Fanatic one? Are you part of that?
What? There's a Mog Fanatic one? Don't tell me that.
Yeah, there was like a Kickstarter. Like Joey Pasco was doing it, and they were trying to get enough people, and so I think you still probably can go in. I don't know when that. I feel like we met the goal. I don't know like when it goes through. I don't know how that works.
Well, I'm gonna save up for a single player Call Sabrine playmat. They're just like simple, clean, classic from the '90s kind of. They're releasing a 1-player version, I think, in December that I'm looking to get. But I've been using the same couple for a while, and it doesn't meet, honestly. Oh, here we go. We're ritual into Carnophage and Skittering Skirge.
Skittering Skirge. All right, so 5 power on turn 1.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
I guess the downside is if it's Skittering Skirge, then he's limited on which creatures he can apply a pressure with. So it would need to be Sarcomancy or Call the Herd, right?
Yep.
We do have a Rancor.
For justice.
For justice. So, not an attack for 5. This is an attack for 7.
That's an attack for 7. That's a lot of damage.
The question is, did Michael mutter under his breath, either in English, German, or Spanish? That's a lot of damage.
I mean, he's got the survival, but this is a clock.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how well like Michael puts up a defense like on the draw here. Like, what is his biggest way to like get in the way? I can't think of anything.
It's eventually just throwing a bunch of stuff at it, I think. But I mean, he needs to probably get Master Core going, right? And just if he gets Master Core,
you have to pay. You need 8 mana to kill a 2/2 because you need to cast it
in the same turn.
Yeah.
Well, you also need to search for it, so 9. Yeah, so that's quite a bit. I know we're not there yet. Obviously Priest isn't online here. I mean, this is a hell of a start for Travis. I mean, this is the kind of this is what he dreams of, right?
It is probably what he dreams of.
Yeah. Again, for justice. I love how he's playing a black deck. If he was playing like a white weenie deck, the Uther thing would be perfect.
Yeah.
He's really more of like a
Gul'dan.
Yeah, Gul'dan, the warlock.
Yeah. What's the card above the Carnophage? There's a Rancor on top of it, so.
Are you when you put an enchantment on a creature, do you put it above or below?
I put under it.
Under it, yeah. Yep. Me too. And I never tap it when it attacks. The enchantment does not tap. Just like with equipment.
Yeah, I don't think I tap it either, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, just tap on top, leave that on top. The enchantments do not tap.
Oh, chat was asking. The Scourge was the Skittering Skirge they were asking about, not the Rancor. Okay.
Oh, Skittering Skirge.
I guess on top can be is ambiguous when it's like the card vertically above it or physically on top. So
I would say the card closest to his deck, to be specific. All right. The Darigaaz's Calderas and those kind of layer lands are always very interesting. They're just like in a wasteland world. It's really kind of risky. But when you need enemy color fixing in this format, you really got to stretch it sometimes.
Yeah.
And they do synergize with the Gemstone Mine, so there's that. I always really like him.
I do too. It just feels like you're like, the I am sorry emote comes down as he casts Snuff Out.
That was good.
So this game's kind of just been all Travis, really.
Things are just again huge clock, and he got a piece of interaction that killed the early. Again, without the without a anger or anything, there's no way for him to really speed things out. Right, draws a card, but
Gaia's Cradles might help in some situations, I guess. Yeah, but Multani's Acolyte is not the most impressive resistance.
No. I mean, he attacks right now. I mean, he's going to have to at least 2-for-1 himself to stay alive.
Well, that's certainly problematic because, like, with the Gaia's Cradle, like, losing a creature is real detrimental. So for justice, and then one more swing, Mike will put the Acolyte and
he trades.
Yep.
It puts him down to 1. Rancor, one of the coolest abilities, goes back to the hand. Love that. Don't need another creature. Put another. Yeah, there you go. Just put the Rancor on there, and you're ready to go.
So Mike would need 8 mana with a Master Core. Is there a different way for him to remove a creature? Because he can't block that one. Nope. He doesn't find anything. And we are going to the sideboards as Travis with a blistering start and really didn't let up. The Dark Ritual 2 creatures and then Rancor is pretty much just enough that he needed. So
I think the Snuff Out was huge too.
Yep.
Really made sure that he stayed in the early game.
Yeah, close that door.
Really
don't let him. Don't give him any chance.
Exactly.
All right, I have Mike Arnold's list up. So the sideboard is 4 Naturalize, 1 Caller of the Claw, 1 Elvish Champion, 1 Well-Wisher, 1 Squee Goblin Nabob, 3 Absolute Law. That's just protection from red, right?
Yes.
It's not black as well. Okay. 2 Torment Script and 2 Null Rod. So I could see Well-Wisher maybe coming in.
Yeah, it's going to want to gain some life. I think gaining 5-6 life could be a big swing. But again, it doesn't have haste, so that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm really interested in too many other things.
No, I mean, this isn't a naturalized deck. Or like killing... Go ahead, kill my Sarcomancy. Thank you.
Oh, I guess
kill my Rancor.
You're anticipating Engineered Plague, so I think you got to bring in the Naturalize.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Elvish Champion is a way to combat that as well.
I would do that. That's more proactive.
Yeah.
For sure. But Torment Script doesn't really do anything. I guess it can get rid of Rancor, but that's so narrow.
So cards that come out, the Armageddons, I think, would be coming out.
Yeah. I think you could take Armageddons out and probably the Nantuko Vigilante. And then you could probably bring in...
I mean, that is a good way to, like, a tutorable way to get rid of Engineered Plague. It is a little bit clunky if your elves are died. Like, you don't have a lot of mana sources, but...
yeah, that'd be my concern. But
all right,
I hear what you're saying.
Looking at Travis's list, the sideboard is the Black Carriage. That is 4 Withered Wretch, 3 Engineered Plague, the 4th copy of Snuff Out, 2 Tempting Wurm, 1 Duress, and 3 Naturalize. So Engineered Plague, Snuff Out seem appealing. Are you interested in Naturalize against Survival of the Fittest, or do you think it? I don't know if you have a room to bring in those.
No, I think you want Snuff Out and Engineered Plague, right?
Yep.
So and what do you and taking things out? You leave in Ritual because
I think Drinker Osara I think comes out. I mean, it's
Drinker or Call the Herd, one of those.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
Drinker Osara is awkward. It's really good when you have Rancor, but it's pretty bad when you don't.
Sure.
Because it's 5 power trampling. Well, 7 it would be with the Rancor, but yeah, I just don't know if you don't have Rancor, it's kind of a awkward card. I think you can sacrifice that Sarcomancy, the actual enchantment.
Yeah, I think Drinker's just a little bit worse. It's easier to cast than the Call the Herd, but you're right. Outside of Rancor, it probably isn't as impressive. Not that you're going to be doing much blocking if you're Travis' deck, but another card I'm looking at is like Nantuko Shade. Seems okay. I don't know. It seems like a mana stick. I think I can see myself trimming one of those.
Okay.
And I don't think the Carrot Spike is really... I mean, yes, you don't have to worry about counterspells, so that's nice. So maybe you leave it in for that reason. But I think if you're... I don't know. It's hard to say.
I mean...
You definitely take out the Spite against counterspell decks, that's for sure.
So I could even imagine... Like, if someone said, like, oh, I've played this, and, like, you just can't... You don't have the access mana to pump the Nantuko Shade. I could almost just see like swapping out Withered Wretch for it because it's just like a 2-mana 2/2 as compared to a 2/1, and it is like something that you can just attack in every turn, and it wouldn't trade with just 1 creature without any additional mana investment. I don't know if that's actually would be the case, but like I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if someone said like this is what I've tested and this is what I found. So
yeah, and also I think it's looks like they're good to start.
Yeah.
But like it's you already have that second toughness, which is important against the elves, right? But unfortunately, it's not as good against the graveyard against normal elves because he only has the Squee that really is an issue in the graveyard. There's no Genesis and there's no Anger to take out. So, but having the second point of toughness is probably pretty good because I mean, but Nantuko Shade does do well with Rancor, right? Because you can really scale up the trample damage. So I'm curious to see how the sideboards happen, but I'm glad we're at a 1-1 right now.
Chat chiming in with sideboard plans. They're saying Hidden Horror they think is better than Drinker Osara. Well, that's unfortunately not in the list for Travis. Bring in 2 Wretch and then all the plagues. Curse Scroll seems bad versus Armageddon. I mean,
yeah, but I'm pretty sure Geddon's out.
Yeah, I think.
And also, Curse Scroll is so good as repeatable removal that you kind of keep it. But I mean, we'll see if I see an Armageddon maybe in this game 3, maybe I think they're taking them out. But I would have to imagine that Mike's taking those out because the deck's so aggressive. Which one's Hidden Horror? It's the 4/4 for 3 that you have to
Discard a creature card, 1 black, yeah.
Yeah.
It used to be played, there was like a standard Reanimator deck. But...
I mean, I could see it with, like, he was talking about the Unearth or whatever, right? Throw Unearth and you get value.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's an awful art.
The original one or the one that I had?
No, the original ones. That's one I remember.
Yeah,
for sure. See, the only problem with Hidden Horror is that you have Sarcomancy and Call of the Herds that it doesn't synergize with. So
sure,
you have less creatures. What do you only have? 16 creatures then? You have the Nantukos, the 8, and then Nantuko Shades, the 4 Carnophages, the Withered Wretches, and the Drinkers.
There is
but they do have to switch out.
Like Gabe was trying out Foul Imp.
It's a 2/2 flyer for 2 that shocks you when you come in.
Yeah, I will say there is a point where losing too much life is detrimental. Like if you have the Carnophages, Sarcomancies, Snuff Outs, but flying is pretty good, and especially like there's not like your flying creature is very likely to get in, I think.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as a fellow pre-modernish era cube owner, I find that you and I probably have the same opinion of like the black cards that are good, like deal yourself a lot of damage, and there's not a good way to like gain life in black like there is later on in Magic. So like a lot of these cards were very good, but like you also, there is a downside. Like you deal yourself a lot of damage from this stuff. I mean, the Suicide Black was definitely a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, Foul Imp is just a 2/2 flyer that has a very small downside, but that doesn't ruin your curve. So, but 3 power is a lot on Skittering Skirge.
Yeah,
that is an aggressively costed creature for sure.
I'm trying to think if there's any other. I mean, this guy's not very aggressive, but Plague Bearer. That guy gives a nice dimension. Like, you could for 3 mana, you can like try and kill like a Dreadnought or like mow down some elves, but that's not a very aggressive card. So
that's usually just to kill. Yeah, that's a good tech against, and it's a zombie. In the zombie decks, I know that they play a couple of them just because it does have that good interaction versus Dreadnought, but it also gets a pump and it can be rebought with the Lord of the Undead and stuff like that. So in the zombies list, I totally get it.
I mean, you could just go to if you're just talking about flying. There's like Ravenous Scourge. It's like 3 mana 1/1, but it's like a 3/1 when you attack.
For 3 mana though, right? If that was 2 mana, I'm down.
Yeah, well,
yeah. I know pre-modern. They didn't let us have really good creatures.
All right, we'll see if mulligans come into play because now like. With a card like Engineered Plague, I think Travis has more of an incentive to mulligan and find a card like that, because just taking out like 2 or 3 elves can really set Mike back, and if Travis already has like a few creatures on the board, he can apply a lot of pressure that way.
Sarcomancy, we haven't seen one of those yet. It's a reserve list card for you. Mike has been very good at drawing the survival of the fittest, I will say. So I gotta say the advantage bar is hit over towards him at this point from this start. All right, you need a plague in a hurry, Travis. Oh, Carnophage, no second land, Okay.
All right. Mike Arnold's going to use the survival, discarding the Nantuko Vigilante. What is he going to get? It might just be an Elvish Champion as a way to kind of insulate yourself from an Engineered Plague. I guess he's got a little bit of time, given that there's no second land from Travis. He's going to get a squee.
I wonder if... yeah, I wouldn't imagine there's a ritual in Travis's hand at this point. He probably would have done something...
Yeah.
more aggressive, right? But I bet you there's a plague in his hand, so he probably kept it. He was like, okay, I have some 1-drops that kind of do stuff, and then probably hoping to draw lands, obviously, because he was on the draw. I mean, these black decks, will try to keep, one land hands because they do have a fair amount to do, but we'll see what happens. But I bet I would bet there's a plague in his hand at this point.
I bet there's a squee in his hand. Oh, we're talking about it, Mike. So, oh, the lights went out.
Well, that was interesting. Lights go out, and he probably one of his kids ran in and just turned the lights out.
Yeah.
Don't see that very often. All right, we got a Multani's Acolyte on the search, so he feels he needs to dig for probably some. I'm guessing for some lands, or some more like kind of mana producers is my guess.
Well, I mean, if that's what you need, like the first Skittering Ranger does a good job of that, right? Because it returns a forest that you'd be able to use and untaps a mana producing elf. So what is he?
Oh, well, there we go. Cradle helps. I don't know if that's what he just ripped, but that's always a nice one. But I mean, the 2/1 does trade, so I mean there is that. The 2/1 is going to be able to trade with one of these zombies, and you got a card out of it, so that's pretty profitable. And maybe you don't want to buy the Echo. Yeah, you lose a creature for Cradle, but I think not a bad way to kind of stem the tide a little bit. Not that this is the most. Here's the ritual. I bet you he was looking for that plague.
Ooh, yep, there it is. So Mike's gonna have 2 mana. Is it for a Naturalize, or is he just gonna use the survival? Either way, he still gets the 2 creatures. Okay.
Naturalize.
I mean, it's not a bad exchange for Travis, right?
No. Oh, he'll take that. Now he's got to clear and open. Like he's attacking for 4. He's got him down to 13. Yeah. And then he adds the board too. Scroll.
Yeah, and the Cradle isn't producing mana right now, and yeah, it'll be interesting. Like if Mike doesn't have cheap creatures here, then he's in a bit of trouble, I think.
Yes. But also those cheap creatures, I mean, if Travis gets a 3rd land, then those cheap creatures are not lasting. Curse Scroll going to do some work.
All right, he has a Fyndhorn Elves.
Now, now do you... All right, fetch. You should have the squee. You probably go get another... You've already played that land for turn, right? So he needs probably another mana producer. But again, he doesn't have haste. So these aren't going to do anything too silly. Pitch squee. Probably get another creature.
I mean, what creatures do they have? Just that, like he just wants like
that. He just wants like Fyndhorn Elves and Llanowar Elves, I would think, right?
He wants a Llanowar Sentinel. that was what was in his deck the Spring Flinger or the Fall Brawl last time, and that was something he was trying out. Sentinel. But yeah,
that 2/3 would be great right now.
The 2/3 lines up really well against the creatures, but not in the list this time around. So, Skittering Ranger, I guess, is the selection. But yeah, I mean, just knowing that it's like white mana and not red, like it just doesn't feel quite as scary. Oh, there's a
Naturalize Curse. Okay. All right. I can see that. All right.
I mean,
I think Mike's in business now.
Mike kind of had to do that. Like he knew that Travis was short on land, but I don't think he could take the risk of Travis drawing a land and having that Curse Scroll be active.
Yeah, no, that would be awful.
But I mean, he still gets attack for 4, so Mike's down to 7, and we do see a Withered Wretch.
There it is. Oh, there goes the squee.
Yep. So a Dark Ritual was also in hand, so he was able to use that excess mana and get rid of the squee.
Yeah. Okay. Now Mike's in a bit of trouble. This is where we wish he had second squee or Genesis or something. But what are you going for? I mean, do you try to get a champion? Do you try to get? I mean, do you go get Master Core at this point just to have a nice 4/4 body? You're in at 7. Yeah. Yeah, that priest is too slow at this point. I think you get Master Core. You can cast Master Core.
Does he have enough mana to play? He could play Deranged Hermit.
He could play Deranged Hermit. That'd be good blockers.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you want to get. And if Travis doesn't have a removal spell. then it does a pretty good job of stabilizing. Now he's getting Kamahl.
Oh, it gets Kamahl. Fascinating. That's not the card I was expecting. I feel like I would have gone at least for, like you said, either range. I mean, I'm not the Elves expert, but I feel like I would have gone for Hermit or just to add so much to the board.
I guess he can get a bunch of mana because he's going to be able to activate the Gaea's Cradle into a creature, and then it can untap with the Skittering Ranger.
Well, the Skittering Ranger was just used.
No, but the next turn. And then he has a ton of mana, and maybe he's gonna Mastercore or just overrun. I guess if you animate some lands, how much mana could you make? A lot. You animate multiple lands, and Gaea's Cradle is a creature and a land. You can untap it with the Skittering Ranger, and yeah, I guess this is maybe just presenting lethal next turn. The one thing is that
Kamahl's a 4/3, right?
Yeah.
So it can block one of these.
The problem is, like, if Travis drew a Snuff Out, like, the Kamahl's a little bit weaker to Snuff Out than I think a one Deranged Hermit would be.
Yeah, one Deranged Hermit still leaves 4 bodies behind, right?
Yeah.
At some point. But without the squee, he's not the card advantage. Oh, okay, he passed the turn. Did get a nice untap, but like this is where something silly is probably going to happen, or should happen. But I mean, if Mike hasn't been drawing creature, I know there's like 30 creatures in the deck, but if these are lands or like a second survival, like this isn't going to do much. Well, nothing, not so. Kamahl's definitely unexpected. I'm curious to see what line he takes. I'm not, like I said, I'm not the Elves expert here. I'm not Pablo Suarez or Alarade, but that was definitely an interesting line. We are deep in the tank at this point.
We're on Travis's turn, right?
No, we're on or Mike's turn. He just untapped.
Well, so then okay, just make all 3 non-cradles or forests get tapped. They make themselves into creatures. Brushland makes Gaea's Cradle into a creature. There are 3 additional creatures, so it's 6. Cradle taps for 6. Okay, this works too.
Cradle currently taps for 4.
Yeah, but if you activate the Kamahl, use the Kamahl ability.
Yep, turn it into a creature.
It's mana neutral anyways, and then for the first time, and then when you untap it again, it's plus mana.
Turns itself into a creature, or that Brushland's a creature. Tapping for 1, 2, 6 mana. Okay. Use that. Untap. Yep. Return that. Untap for the. Okay, we got 6. Play. That is Summoning Sickness. But we don't have any more untaps, right? So we have a potential for.
So chat was saying, why would you animate the lands for an additional 3 mana from Cradle? You just get tapping for the lands because you get to use it twice, so it's mana neutral the first time, but then because you get to untap the Skittering Ranger, then you get extra mana the second.
Okay, so if he does it a second time, they can each get plus. So if he taps this, they each get +6/+6 in trample. So that means 7, 14, 21 plus 10. So I mean, is he swinging for 31? Did I count that with trample? Did I count that right?
I don't know.
Because he can activate Kamahl twice. So each of these get +6/+6 in trample. He can soak up 6. Yeah, I think this is a lethal swing here. Wait, that Llanowar Elf is summoning sick.
Okay.
All right, so now we're swinging for 10, Yeah, that is definitely a buy a holy light. He's swinging for. Did he scoop too early? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if he's got to like throw away all his creatures to stay alive, then.
Oh yeah, I know he's in a rough spot.
So.
Cause yeah, so that was a swing for 24. He can soak up 6, and I guess he didn't have a snuff out or anything. Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
I don't think we would have got to that point if he had a snuff out. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, an engineered plague did come down, but Mike had an immediate answer, and while it felt like kind of a slow rebuild, I guess it turned the corner a lot quicker than I thought, because it went Llanowar Elf, or was it Fyndhorn Elf, into Skittering Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got Kamahl, and played it, and then won the next turn.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's only 4 snuff outs that killed Kamahl, right? So.
Yeah.
I mean, another plague would have definitely impacted this for sure. What
Well,
are the creatures?
Travis,
What are the? What? Go ahead.
I was saying he never got to full 3 mana. I guess he did have 2 rituals, but he didn't have 3 mana at the end of the game, I don't think.
No, he didn't. But snuff outs are free.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he definitely has plenty of swamps. Somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, why is there no tainted wood in Travis's list? And it's a fair question, honestly. But like, what is the number of swamps you need to play to have tainted wood make sense? Like at least 10? 12? I don't know what the number is.
So it's problematic because like the first black source, I'm trying to think, because if you had tainted wood and Gemstone Mine, that's problematic for sure.
Because that doesn't look too well.
And it's not great with the Caldera either, because it would be like it. You could still like cast spells early and then use the Caldera, but you can't really do that with tainted wood. It's real awkward if it's like a land you draw early.
Yeah, I know. I usually play like 1 or 2 tainted peaks when I play like the red black, like Machine Head or Draco.
How many swamps are in that list, do you think?
Well, I think it's 8 swamps plus 4 fetch lands. Yeah, so that probably gets you pretty close. But you have the fetch lands, so that balances it out.
Yeah.
And you do run into some issues, but when those are working, it feels great, But you do need a swamp.
It's also a little bit different style of deck where Travis's life total is a lot less important than that red-black list's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I won't say necessarily important, but it's a less of a priority. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I would say I might want to play City of Brass before Tainted Wood, but
yeah, no, I'm surprised there aren't a couple of City of Brass. It's just to get you a few more green sources. I played when I played this red-green zoo list that I played over I actually played it in this monthly as well as the Fall Brawl, and I was able to, you're an aggressive deck. So, fitting in 2 City of Brasses gave me this like nearly perfect mana where I had 14 of both red and untapped red and green mana on turn 1. Now that's red-green because they're they obviously work well together, and they're allied. You're probably not going to have the same ability with an enemy colored deck of these mana bases, but still, I think it is a couple more isn't that big of a deal. I mean, to squeeze in just to get a few more green sources, especially in such an aggressive deck. Oh, lights out again. Kind of like this. Keeps us on our toes.
before the lights go out and then they come back on, and then there's a message waiting. Like that's where the emote comes.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Curse Scroll turn 1. Not the turn 1 play he wants,
Well met.
Well met.
Yes.
Oh, the symbiote.
Well, neither player has like their ideal start, I guess. Like Symbiote's probably not the one you want to lead on. You want to lead with a mana accelerant, and Travis not having a creature on turn 1 is not his favorite thing, but looks like they're going for it. So Michael is going to add a Priest of Titania. It's possible he still has a survival. Like, he's developing his mana at this point. So we'll see if the survival of the fittest comes down early, as it has for Michael for most of these games. Or was it each of them?
It was all 3 of them so far. But in game 4, it doesn't seem like it's there. All right, what do we got, Travis? We need to really put the pressure on or interact with this priest. Yeah, there we go. Bye bye. Well, no, we got to kill the symbiote first, don't we?
Yeah.
Yep. And then Skirge. Okay, now we got a clock. I mean, that priest can be scary, but you know he's got Curse Scroll that hopefully can start killing things.
It's nice where you're able to like maximize your mana. Like you're still playing, tapping out, and then using the Snuff Out, so using it to its full potential, where you're paying the life and still adding
and getting
to the board.
cards and getting cards out of the hand. I mean, he really needs to hit a third land drop soon, which it doesn't seem like he did. But you know, we're gonna have some. Oh, they're gonna trade with the Wretch. Okay, I think. I'm surprised Mike did that trade. I feel like I would have valued the mana producer a little more.
It might just be that he values his life total.
Yeah.
A Sarcomancy comes down that adds a 2/2. So that gets around the Skittering Skirge drawback, where because the enchantment makes a token, which is not you casting a creature spell.
Yep. Huge. All right, 3 mana again. Another champion. That'd be huge. Well-wisher. Okay.
Yeah, that's problematic. So the morph is a vigilante. Was there another? There's no tribal force mage, right?
No, it's just a vigilante. All right, that'll kill the. I mean, if he's feeling charitable, he'll kill the Sarcomancy for him. But more likely, it's go for the Curse Scroll. Yeah, Curse Scroll is one of my absolute favorite cards ever printed. Love the card, but you know, 3 mana sometimes can be a lot, and you really want to. Not hitting that, and he's probably would have loved to have used it the last couple turns, and you really want to use it really later. So having that early is not the best. This is why the burn decks, you know, in Premodern have only been cut down to 1 or 2 because they're not the best early, but they, you know, they're definitely there for the later game. But sometimes you can ride it to victory. You know, it's not as efficient as like a Grim Lavamancer, but you know, it's still pretty good at like, you know, mowing down little creatures.
Mm-hmm. So Travis had noted the name of this deck. He did not call it Suicide Black Green. He called it Broccoli Soup. And so I want to know, like, so I'm always at a difficult position. I'm like, well, I want to honor someone like when they do something creative, and it's like, I do like deck names in some sense, but I'm kind of like, in some ways, it's gotta have some meaning. I don't know if it has any context of that, because I guess the soup with the broccoli on the side was the green splash, so I don't know, it was a little bit too much for me. So I'm curious what chat thinks of naming the deck Broccoli Soup.
Yeah, I'm not down with it either. When I think of broccoli soup, I think of the broccoli cheddar soup from Panera, and that is definitely not black. It's yellow and
Chat has said suicide equals soup on the side.
What?
I guess it was. He did note something at one point calling it soup on the side, but yeah,
hold on. That one of those lands should be bounced back to his hand, shouldn't it? That'll change the odds. Because he only had 2 for a while. Did I miss that, chat?
Well, he can
Oh,
do this in
okay.
He can do this response to the bouncing trigger. Yeah. So he's going to target that Elvish Champion.
Oh, got it with a plague. Okay. That's interesting.
Yep, and now the land's back.
Now
in
it bounced.
His hand, so.
Okay, did it in response. Okay, that's smart. Keeps his land count down. I wonder if that was actually a 1 and 3 or more like a 2 and 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that pretty pivotal. Did Mike pass up the opportunity to kill the Curse Scroll?
No, he was tapped out.
Okay.
Yeah, he couldn't have. But he's got, you know. I think Mike's in kind of a tough spot because both his creatures are going to die to this plague. I mean, he'll gain 2 life, but he doesn't really want to commit more to the board. And obviously, I think, actually, if you're Travis, do you even commit the plague to the board, or do you just try to ride the Curse Scroll to ping some things down? So because you know You could do one more Curse Scroll on the Vigilante to hold him back.
Well, yeah, because then that would force the Vigilante to flip up. And if you're able to take out the Vigilante, or just make it flip up, then your Engineered Plague is likely to stay in play. And that gives you a lot more time, so...
Yeah, I think I like that play. I think you... Again, depending on the odds of the Curse Scroll, so he's going to play this land again, presumably have 4 cards in hand. So if you're only at 50-50, maybe it's not worth it. Or you just maybe trade the Plague for the Priest and the Well-Wisher, which are 2 very good targets. Don't that's I think a high, definitely high ceiling. And you're keeping your pressure on. You're still attacking for 5. So I kind of like Travis's spot here.
I guess if you went land, Engineered Plague, kill the 2 elves, the Vigilante is going to have to end a turn, kill the Engineered Plague for Mike to commit anything else to the board. And then in theory, you might be able to turn on your Curse Scroll and start mowing stuff down then. So without a huge hand for Mike or a survival or anything, then maybe that sequence is a little bit safer.
Well, there's survival.
that might change things. So,
all right, pitching the Master Core. See, without a Genesis here, that Master Core's just gone.
I think he does have 2 copies, but
of Genesis?
No,
or
of Master Core.
Oh right, let me double check that. You're right. He does have 2 Master Cores. Okay. Okay, Symbiote. Yep, that's a lightning rod. But I think I like your plague line. You're at least getting a 2-for-1. And
well, with the Wirewood Symbiote, that's not necessarily true.
But you definitely buy a turn, and you're keeping the pressure on. All right, return that, untap that. Okay, so he could essentially bounce both now. But if I feel like you're feeling pretty good if there's no elves on the other side of the board.
Well, but here this is a spot where if you cast Engineered Plague, Mike will be able to respond by returning the Well-Wisher, and then he'd be able to kill the Engineered Plague, and then I guess, but then he'd be able to dump the other 2. Then he'd be able to dump the other elves in play after that. So it's not as appealing, but it still might be a situation. You might be able to name Insect in that spot then, because it's kind of the same effect. Michael's unlikely to, if he's returning the elf anyways, he's unlikely to cast an elf before it's killed anyways. So you might.
Yeah,
as well
I think
I
would name Insect here, right?
Yeah. Does not seem to be the case since the Insect is staying in play.
This does require him to spend that 2 mana to flip the Vigilante though, for that next turn. So then there's a whole nother turn before these things start tapping from.
Then Mike has to make the decision: am I killing the Curse Scroll? Am I killing the Engineered Plague?
See, by naming Elf, he basically bought himself. Oh, he did name. Wait.
Okay.
Oh,
there's a little bit of a delay there. So.
Yeah. Oh no, it's Snuff Out. Snuff Out got it.
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh no, he named Insect and then. Oh wait.
He named Insect and then Snuff Out the. Yes, there it is. That's wow. That's actually huge.
Well,
so he named Insect.
If you have the Snuff Out, I would name Elf. Because what good is a symbiote if you don't have anything to do?
True.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't like that. If you had the Snuff Out, then I would have named Elf.
I'm with you. Oh, second plague.
Okay.
Okay. I had a feeling there was 2. There was a confident.
That works out. All right.
Okay, going for game 5. Yeah, good read on that. If he had Snuff Out that whole time, then just snuff out the Vigilante and his name Elf. He's bounced the ball back, but he can't play them again unless he has Naturalize.
I mean, it makes sense. If you had all those cards in your hand, that sequence makes a lot of sense.
With the second plague?
Yeah, and I mean that probably is likely because he did name Engineer Plague with the Curse Scroll. I mean that doesn't necessarily mean there was a second copy in his hand, but it kind of lines up. So
yeah, I'm with you on this one. Yeah, that line makes more sense now that he had the second. And that made him overextend. Again, without the anger, he couldn't do anything too quick, right? He has to wait that whole turn. So I do think that's going to be a potential fatal flaw in this build of Elves, is that it does not have the speed of
the explosiveness,
the explosiveness, excuse me. Whereas, the hosts of another Taylor Swift and Modern Burn podcast called the Spike Colony would say it fails the prime directive.
Okay. I don't know if that's the situation, because isn't the prime directive that there's no benefit of playing this version? And certainly Armageddon does give you aspects that anger doesn't have, right?
For sure. Yeah, but you could still kill all the lands of your opponent with Kamahl and Mastercore,
sure,
in theory, right?
Yeah.
But it definitely, you could see how less explosive this is without anger out there.
So players have been... Has the person on the play won each time? Is that what's happened? No, because because Travis was on the play the first game, but he lost. He was on the play the second game and won. Then Mike won the third, and Travis won the fourth. Okay.
Yes. That sounds right.
All right, it all comes down to this. Will Travis have another blistering start, or will the control game with Curse Scroll and Engineered Plague be enough to hold the Elves at bay? Or will Michael have mana right away and then have an Elvish Champion to keep him safe?
Yeah, you got to like Mike on the play here, because I guess Snuff Out is like a turn one interaction, but that's about it, right? But Travis, if he has that, 7 power turn one, would be huge. Not giving him much time. But we will find out shortly. Stay tuned. Just realized I haven't eaten dinner yet. It's getting late.
Are you going to have broccoli soup?
No, but I think I am having broccoli.
Okay.
My fiance, she just made a bunch of chicken, potatoes, vegetables kind of thing. So looking forward to that.
Who do you like in this game, number 5?
I think I like Mike. I think
yeah, my gut just says that there's a little bit of an edge, though. I think it's pretty close. There's a lot of tools that Travis has. He has pressure, and a very impactful Engineered Plague is really all that he needs.
For sure.
So.
For sure. Yeah, Engineered Plague is a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Mike's been pretty good at drawing Survival of the Fittest, so I trust in his ability to do that hopefully one more time. It's really funny with Travis's deck. I feel like it could come out really slow or extremely fast. If it doesn't have the we saw with Gabe and Galen. There was a time well met. There was a time where Gabe was playing like a troll, and you just didn't have enough pressure on Galen because eventually he was able to combo out, and it's kind of a similar situation here. All right, Carnophage is fine. They both have a turn good. They're basic turn one plays.
Yep.
I think Mike's is more impactful. Note also that this is not a swamp, so Snuff Out is not an option here.
Mike should be at 19, right? Because of the
yes,
Brushland.
That is correct. No, I think they're fixing it now.
Nope, that's from the Carnophage.
Oh. Mike, you are at 19. Birchland.
All right, we'll get that corrected. Carnophage comes in.
Ooh, second Gemstone Mine. Rough.
Oh, so it was blocked and then returned with the symbiote, but yeah, okay.
All right.
So there's 2 Gemstone Mines?
2 gemstone mines.
Well, Snuff Out's not online then.
Definitely not.
All right.
Oh, there he goes. Got both. Right now, I'm not really sure. I mean, I like the pressure that Travis is putting on because it doesn't seem like Mike's doing a whole lot. But I don't like Travis's mana right now, which I think is kind of scary. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen here. I mean, the symbiote's going to be tough to deal with.
So there's one counter on that one of those gemstone mines, right?
Correct. Yes.
So unfortunately for Travis, it's not something that you can like tap and then use the Darigaaz's Caldera to pick it up. It would just die right away. So
right, he has to play it and refresh it now.
Well, he'll send in the team. Well, Mike can do the similar thing, but
yeah, but
it does slow him down. So like, yeah, it would protect his life. What was there? Just a Caller the Claw? Interesting.
Trade.
So okay, I guess it's
kind
of
wait, is interesting.
All right. Color Call just ambushes.
Ambush Vipers it. Oh my god, we're getting aggro with symbiotes. Here we go. Priest. Alright.
I mean, if they're just racing, well, I guess Travis isn't even in that good of a shape. Like Carnophage, it's a little bit awkward because he deals damage to you, and then the mana from Travis is just real awkward. I wonder how many Snuff Outs are sitting in his hand.
Probably few. Okay, this is huge. Multani, I mean, that Cradle taps for 1 billion. The Priest taps for a bunch. I mean, this is a survival from getting out of hand. This is a Kamahl from getting out of hand.
Yeah, there's Masticore. There's a lot of draws that Michael could have that'd be very impactful. Elvish Champion would be really good. I mean, just him having this is a situation where this draw engine of the Wayward Symbiote and the Multani's Acolyte is fine because there's just not the pressure from Travis.
Oh, it's more than fine. Yeah, this is very good. And he keeps getting more mana each time he untaps his Priest. Yeah. Damn symbiote.
Yeah, so to come back from a situation like this, I think Travis is going to need an Engineered Plague. The problem is it's going to cost him a land, at least. And then, like, as more turns go by, well, Mike already preemptively prepared for the Engineered Plague that could come down. So definitely liking the position of Michael in this last game. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely seems like it's going to be pretty. I mean, he just drew, what, 3 cards that turn? 3 extra cards that turn? Yeah. I mean, he's got to be in a good spot now.
Yeah, Travis kind of just held up his hand. He's like, what am I supposed to do? I can't really do anything from this position. What green cards did Travis run in this build? Rancor and Call the Herd. And then there's some sideboard cards like Naturalize.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
All right, well, he does have 3 mana, and there is an Engineered Plague. But Michael's going to be able to respond. He's going to float the mana with the Priest. He's going to use 2 of the Wayward Symbiotes. I guess you can return
that and the
Multani's Acolyte, okay.
Alright, so the Fyndhorns are going to die.
You name Elf or Insect?
Oh, I think you got to name Elf. Oh, naming Insect. Okay. Again, I guess you bought yourself some time. Because, again, those aren't so many sick. They're going to be so many sick. Oh, flip it over.
Yep, it was short-lived.
I guess the symbiotes were what was making it, do unfair things. All right, here comes the Priest, or Multani again. Drawing a bunch of cards.
I would say it's a good thing that Nantuko Vigilante isn't like a 3/1 because it would it is an insect itself. So when it would flip up, it would die from state-based effects, I think.
That's a good point. But it would still kill something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the Engineer Plague's gone, and Mike's rebuilt by replaying the Multani's Acolyte, a Priest of Titania, a second Priest of Titania, and has a new Wirewood Symbiote. So the board looks pretty similar to it did like a turn before, and Travis is at the point where he's trading with the Vigilante. So not a position that I think he likes with only one land.
No, this is what I was saying in the pregame, is that, like, you know, the death knell of this deck for Travis is going to be the mana base, and it failed him in this last game. Of course, unfortunately, it really showed up at the worst possible time for him. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, it would be nice if, you know, could have had a game. Because I imagine Travis has pretty good, you know, he's got a bunch of cards in hand, I'm pretty sure. Like at least 3 or 4. You know, he just wasn't able to deploy on time.
Yeah.
Or efficiently.
Yeah, the Gemstone Mines kind of backfired there.
Yeah.
All right, Mike doing the fair elf things. At what point? I mean, you pretty much can attack. I would say if you're not using the mana, you could just use the Wirewood Symbiote just to bounce whatever creature gets blocked by the Withered Wretch, and then deal for 4 damage.
I think we're about that time. I mean, he's drawn so many cards. He's got to have some. I mean, it doesn't seem like he has survival, but like Elvish Champion, Master Core, something's got to be coming down soon.
How many cards does Mike have in his hand?
I'm not sure, but he's been playing a bunch of them out, but at the same time, he's also drawn at least 6 extra cards from Multani's Acolyte. Well, Wisher's out. Did he pass the turn? Okay.
Is that Llanowar Wastes?
Yeah. For another plague?
It is.
Whoa. Why? Okay.
Ooh, so...
This is... What happened here, Michael?
That looks pretty good then. He's going to return an Acolyte.
Yeah. And then get the old 6 for 1?
I don't think there's another Caller of the Claw, right? I think it's just the one copy.
That was the same game. No, he has 1 main and 1 on the board.
Oh, okay.
If this is... Okay, Naturalize. Sure. Come on. Bring those bears. And Caller. That'd be sick.
Wow, this is...
Wow, that took a turn. I did not expect that.
I mean, I still think Michael might be ahead here, but it certainly looks a lot better for Travis. I mean, he's probably sitting up in the seat and
be like, okay,
feeling new lease of life.
I mean, the advantage bar was like 90% towards Mike before that plague, and now we got probably more like a 50-50. Because they're both at pretty healthy life totals, but you gotta like this draw engine that Mike's got going on. Because I mean, each one of these is gonna be able to be bounced and draw more cards, and then the survival. Okay. Yeah, I'd bounce these back so you don't have to worry about the echoes. I mean, maybe he wants to leave one back to trade.
He just played both the echoes, right? The Multani's Acolyte.
I mean, not bounce to his hand, so he doesn't bounce on his turn, and then also
okay.
Yeah. So he probably wants to trade with a Wretch, or he's gonna. I'm not sure if he wants to pay for an Echo. But wow, this is really turned. Well played. You're not dead.
Yeah, there's.
Oh, why are you conceding?
A Snuff Out, a Nantuko Shade, I think a Carnophage. So Travis did his best. The mana really didn't cooperate. But yeah, that was a fun match to watch, and Travis certainly did some exciting things, but in the end, Michael and his Armageddon Elves is able to take it down and advance to the semifinals. So let's jump down to our players and listen in what they have to say.
I was going to try to assemble Masticore plus Kamahl, and I should be able to do that pretty easily. Turns out drawing a bunch of cards each turn is pretty good.
Yeah.
Go ahead and unmute the guys.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey there.
Oh, congrats,
Well,
Mike.
Yep, congrats. That was a fun match. I mean, given how that last game, I mean, a few turns ago, I'm like, well, there's no way Travis is going to win. And then that engineered play came down. I'm like, well, maybe there's a small chance. And then the card draw from Moltani's Acolyte did a pretty good job of bouncing you back. But it was pretty interesting to see either way. So
Yeah, I'm glad at least we made it entertaining and gave the watchers a full 5 games.
yeah, and that one game with the Dark Ritual, Skittering Skirge, and Carnophage with the Rancor. Michael, did you mutter anything under your breath after that turn?
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's what the deck is designed to do right there. So sometimes that's what you end up with.
He didn't have the Hearthstone emotes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got it. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we got the Uther.
I said when it was just well met. I'm like, I don't know if this, because I've heard enough people say that. Like, I'm not sure if that has an overlap with other games. But then I saw the other ones. I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely the Hearthstone emote. So. You guys want to talk about your deck real quick? Both of you have like an interesting twist on archetypes that we've seen before. I know I talked about a little bit from what you guys had written, but do you want to go into a little more detail while you have the floor?
Not too much. I mean, I was just trying to find a way to beat red. You know, is the, I think every elf player contemplates that.
Okay.
So that's absolute laws and everything like that. And if you're in white, might as well play Armageddon. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you ever miss the ability to like have red mana and get anger? Because there were a few turns where it's like it seems like you always have to like pass the turn and like, okay, I'm here, like something is gonna come, but like the opponent always has like a turn to react. Do you ever felt like that kind of like impacted the way you played?
Yeah, it definitely, like I missed it more than the white splash helped me out this league. At the same time, like in the Spring Fling, I lost to both Will on Sly in the pod play, and then also Eric on Goblins. I lost him both in pod play and in the top 8. So just let's try this out. And of course, I played 1 Goblins the entire pod play, and there's no red decks here in the top 8. So
Okay.
that's just the way that it goes. I came prepared. I beat my Goblins matchup, so mission accomplished in that sense. But at the same time, for what I actually faced, anger would have been a lot better.
Okay. Travis, what was your tournament experience? And the ultimate question is, when's the podcast that's going to be talking about your Fall Brawl experience?
That's a good question. Like the first half is going to drop eventually, probably like within the next week, but we haven't even recorded like the next episode for like talking about this. So probably like 3 weeks from now.
Okay.
But it's been really good. Like I faced like a variety of decks. I played this in 3 leagues. I played it in I played it in Mox Forge, and I played it in Beard Brothers. And like I said, I went 12-4, and the deck just felt like really good. I mostly dodged red, which is the big deal. I played against 1 Goblins player and got there, but like I was able to just attack for 7 on turn 2 a lot, and a lot of decks are not able to do with it.
Yeah. Chat wants to know about the name. So I had kind of told them that like in the forum you had called it like broccoli soup or soup on the side broccoli. I had mentioned it, but I have always written it as Suicide Black / Green kind of thing. So is there more of a story behind that, or is it just kind of like or like how it sounds?
Yeah, so like a bunch of friends and I were like, let's all like play black for Halloween, and you're not supposed to say suicide
Sure.
online, so we came up with like dumb names for it. So like
Okay.
I say soup on the side, and my friend Steve calls it Kermit Sewer Slide.
Okay.
And so because we're adding green, it's broccoli soup.
Okay.
So
Okay.
All right. I would say like it makes more sense when you say it, but like at first it sounded very forced, but like I understand now. Okay. So.
yeah. I mean, I was going into this like on multiple levels of like just clowning around. I was just like, hey, Flippy, notice me. Hey, I'm playing Black Carriage.
I think you are probably the first person to top 8 a pre-modern event with Black Carriage.
I think you can drop the pre-modern, stipulation there. I think you can just say top
Just in
8
general.
Black Carriage.
I'm trying to think if anyone ever would have played like this, and like we did like a commander. I wonder if this guy would ever find his way to do like a pre-modern commander deck. I guess still probably the card pool is just is still too deep that I don't think you need to go this far. So.
No way.
Yeah, but props to Travis for bringing a pretty sweet brew.
Yeah.
Right there.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, I was Team Rancor call to her for the Fall Brawl also, so I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, you played against my friend Steve, Jared.
I did, yes, yeah. Yeah, he had a slightly different build. I think he had a little more discard, and his mana base was a little different for sure. But
He was playing the Lurk.
The Lurk, like
Lurking Evil.
Lurking Evil. Oh,
Is that instead of Kaervek Spite, or is it?
Black, enchantment, pay half your life. It's a 4/4 flyer.
Okay.
that's what it was. Yeah. Steve Von Daka, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds familiar.
We could not find Drinker of Sorrows anywhere. We were between 3 different states and 3 different like LGSs. We were like, there's no Drinkers of Sorrow, so we just were like, whatever. Here's Lurking Evil.
I love Lurking Evil. It's a classic.
You can get around Oath for a turn. I guess you're probably not playing around Oath most of the time, anyways. So.
No, I also dodged the Oath decks.
Okay.
Important things to do.
Chad has asked, Travis, what do you think about adding some Plague Spitters and some copies of Duress? You did have 1 copy of the Duress in the sideboard, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, like, the sideboard is going to be different moving forward. I think it's going to be, like, 1 copy of Plague Spitter, maybe, like, 2 Plague, or, like, some variation thereof. I was talking about, I want Color of the Claw in mine. Like, Tempting Wurm was terrible. I don't know, like, Black Carriage can be anything.
Yeah. All right, so there's
Place your
still
vampire
some
just
room
for
to
speed
play
and
around
take.
the sideboard. So something that you can look forward to test and tune. So, but you were pretty happy with the main deck.
Like, the Calderas were obviously terrible, like, in that last game, but they were sometimes good.
I mean, you could also just say it was also the Gemstone Mine's fault too. Like, I mean, like if it were swamps, then I don't think the Calderas would have been a problem. And if it was just Gemstone Mines and you had swamps, it also would have been okay. So it's like you having both of those together, I think, was the problem. So
Yeah, but I mean, the only reason I kept that hand because it was Gemstone, Engineered Plague, Carnophage, Withered Wretch, which is like, an amazing hand against Mike, but obviously I bricked on the 3rd land for like 4 turns in a row,
Yeah.
and he's just like drawing 100 cards.
Yeah, and I think Travis had kept 7 once through that match, so that was a mulligan to 6. So I would keep that 6.
do you find yourself mulliganing a lot with the deck, Travis, that you need like a really aggressive hand, or is it just the top 8? That's kind of how it happened.
So I tested this matchup with a friend who played this Elves version, and I found I had to be like super aggressive, especially in the pre-sideboard games where I had to have like a Dark Ritual hand, and then the sideboard games I had to have either I had to be on the play with a Dark Ritual hand or I had to have Engineered Plague, otherwise it just wasn't enough. So I was just aggressively mulling because like me going like turn 1 Carnophage go against him is really embarrassing.
Okay. Yeah,
But I did that
Mike,
a lot.
did you have any practice or any intuition how the matchup was going to go?
It kind of went the way that I thought it was. I I felt very confident like in the pre-sideboard games, and I kind of had my sideboard plan laid out with what I was going to do. So, trimmed an Armageddon, trimmed a Quarterfinals Ranger, that type of thing. Deranged Hermit isn't great, against him. That type of thing. I want the Naturalizes just to come in, and Well-Wisher, of course. So yeah, I did comment like before that engineered play came down. It's just like, I'm just gonna make you have it right here, because otherwise, like, I had how many untap effects with how many elves?
Sure.
Like, I would have been at 50 plus, something like that. Who cares about drawing cards anymore? Just be an unreasonably large life total.
Yeah, we were surprised by your one. I think it was game 3 when you did the Kamahl line. We were kind of we thought that was unexpected. We thought we were going to go Deranged Hermit or like Master Core line instead. But like when you seem to counter it out and had it, it's like as long as you get to untap with it, you have a good chance to win.
Yeah, pretty much like the math I was, if you see me like trying to figure it out, it's like, okay, is attacking with 2 creatures with 3 overruns better than 3 creatures on 2 overruns, and so I was able to, that was 24. That was swinging at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
nice.
Kamahl's insane.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah, chat was confused when like the Gaia's Cradles and creatures got animated and it got untapped, and it's like, it's okay, it works that way. Kamahl makes them into creatures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, we've talked about that on stream. That's the first time I think I've seen it on stream. So maybe I've missed it from one of like the European tournaments, but it's the first time I've actually seen the lands, like the Cradle animated.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like if you go back to Robert, Kalari's, like original runs with the deck, that you can see him doing that. That was, one thing which like was not intuitive to me.
Sure.
When I first saw it, but then like you actually see it play out, and like, oh yeah, this is really good. Yeah. But anyway, got to go get the kids all ready, get them fed.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations. Job well done. And we will see you in one of the semifinals. So.
Yep. We'll go 0-3.
All right.
Thanks for the games, Michael.
All right.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Job well done, Travis. Thank you. All right, Jared. Let's wrap things up. So we had our best of 5, and we went to 5 games again. So an exciting match, and it was really cool to see the Suicide Black Green deck kind of do its thing one game and really put up a fight. The Engineered Plagues made a lot of work and gave a lot of suspense. But Mike gets to push on. He's going to have to face against, I guess, it's got to be I think he's got to play a Hermit Feb deck either way, whatever side of the bracket's on, because I don't think the Hermit Febs are on the same side. So I think that was him alluding that he doesn't like his combo matchup. So
yeah, that's going to be 2 ships passing in the night, I feel like.
Yep.
Not really interacting a whole lot.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to add, Jared, or are you ready?
No,
to
it was a good one. Like, again, I was definitely team Rancor. Caldera, big fan of seeing those cards in the top 8. It's awesome. I'm obviously very happy for Michael as well. Seeing a different take on elves, but it was very cool.
All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I do think we are going to be streaming our last match tomorrow. It should be around 6 p.m. Eastern. It is the matchup between Grotog and... Can't remember the other list. I can't remember the other deck. So
Hermit was it another Hermit Feb, or we've seen both of those already?
I don't think it was 3 of those. I think it was just 2 of those.
There's just 2 of those. I can't remember.
Lanny's asking who's commentating Grow. I currently don't have a commentator, so if Lanny, if you're available. Oh, Mono Blue Stifle Knot. Yes, that's it. Lanny, if you're available again, I want to do it. I am looking for a commentary. But yeah, so we will see you soon, because we have more streaming of the Fall Brawl Top 8. We have the last quarterfinals soon, and then we'll have the semis probably sometime next week or possibly this weekend. So thanks everyone for tuning in. But until next time, take care.
Have a good night.